So how do we keep anger, rage, violence, all the characteristics of being savage that people really don't like under control? Well, for myself, this is kind of like something that I wrote down yesterday, just thinking about, like, what do I do to keep my anger under control? What do I do to make sure that I'm not just some raging bull walking around? And what do I do to keep myself from being violent to the wrong person? Now, if somebody kicks in the door to my house, 100%, I am 100% allowed to be full of rage, full of violence, all at the same time, and there's no problem with it. But if I come home from work and my kids are saying, "I love you, Dad," that is not a moment to have that, you know? So how do I keep it under control? So here's a couple things that I do to ensure that the savagery is under control. One of the things is I spend time with God. I 100% spend time with God, reading the Word, praying. My biggest thing that helps is praying to God. And that means just closing my eyes, focusing on God, and talking to Him and listening to Him. You can hear the baby in the background, but I'll show you him at the end of the video. But that time with God makes me humble, makes me meek, because I have that time to tell Him all my mistakes, all my errors, and I get to meditate on that stuff. The other thing I do is I use my physical abilities to an exhausting point. And that's not just exercise, because you could go to the gym and walk on the treadmill and get absolutely zero exhaustion. What I'm talking about is go for a run, hike up a big hill, do something hard. When I do those things, it helps me tremendously keep all that energy under control. Big time. And it doesn't wear me out, it actually helps me. Endorphins are released in my body and it balances me out. My son thinks this video is funny. I can hear him. "What are you saying, son?" He's all, "Sure, Dad." But the other thing is fasting from what my body needs is something I try not to do. What I mean is, if I need food, because I've done that exhausting exercise, I don't wait. I make sure and get the right fuel in my body, because hangry is a real thing. And if you wait too long, that hangry can go against your family, your wife, and you don't have to be. There's food everywhere on this planet that you can get your hands on so you don't have to be angry. That's probably the simplest one. Eat healthy food that gives you the right vitamins and minerals your body needs so you're not hangry. The other is, practice being vulnerable. Now this one may seem kind of odd to you, but to keep anger under control, to keep the ability to be violent under control, to keep those things under control, I have to take my mind and my body and my soul to a place of vulnerability. I am very vulnerable with my wife. I tell her my deepest, darkest pains, my aches, but I also have battle bros, and I am vulnerable with them about where I'm failing, where I need help. Being that way makes it possible so I'm not going through this alone. These are the things not to do. Do not sit on the couch. That builds a rage monster. All you video game guys who sit on the couch, you are building a monster inside of you and you got no muscle to back it up. Isolating. If you isolate, that definitely builds a monster inside you, and it gives you absolutely no outlet and no possibility of being vulnerable with anybody. Drinking alcohol or overdoing it with caffeine or any kind of stimulant is 100% gonna build a monster inside of you that will be way out of control. And focusing on others instead of yourself. I can tell you, in the culture we live in, what is it, son? Oh, he's raging back there. He wants a bottle. But in the culture we live in, if you focus on other people and their problems only, and you never deal with the problems inside of you, then you're going to build a monster, because you're always going to be frustrated, because there is multi streams of bad news coming to you if you look for them. So don't do that. Look for the good stuff. And then also going to places that for sure you're going to lose it. Like, we all know that there are places that we shouldn't go, and we go anyway thinking we have it under control, under mastery. Like, listen, you don't have to go. There's times I don't go to family functions because I know I can't handle it. I will lose it. There's certain people I won't hang out with because I know I'll lose it with them. So I don't do that. And really, this is just for me. This is my life. Son, stop raging, man. You got to follow these principles. But it's just like, it's not impossible to live a savage life with controls, with limits, and in a way that benefits your family, your friends, and everybody around you.